Hi. Hi. This is the lecture that I'm going to give you here on a tape about analyzing lyrics, okay? So I'm having a little today, so bear with me. Guys, what you should have during this is the pink sheet with the questions. You should have that. And also, you should have with you the Greenfinch and Linnet Bird lyrics that I emailed to you all, okay? All right, good. So, I'm going to tell you how to analyze a song lyric, and you're going to need to do that for your final song. You need to analyze that lyric, okay? You should do this before coming up with a private scenario. Your analysis will be very important in helping you to find a private scenario. If you've already picked a private scenario, certainly now you want to analyze the lyric, and once you've done that, you may wind up changing your scenario and or your powerful person. Or if you don't, if you still want to keep that scenario, analyzing the lyric will help clear up some things for you and make that scenario more specific. So, the song that we're going to analyze is Greenfinch and Linnet Bird. So I'm going to read the lyric while you read it to yourself, okay? Greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, how is it you sing? How can you jubilate, sitting in cages, never taking wing? Outside the sky waits, beckoning, beckoning, just beyond the bars. How can you remain, staring at the rain, maddened by the stars? How is it you sing anything? How is it you sing? Greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, how is it you sing? Whence comes this melody constantly flowing? Is it rejoicing or merely hallooing? Are you discussing or fussing or simply dreaming? Are you crowing? Are you screaming? Ringdove and robinet, is it for wages, singing to be sold? Have you decided it's safer in cages, singing when you're told? My cage has many rooms, damask and dark. Nothing there sings, not even my lark. Larks never will, you know, when they're captive. Teach me to be more adaptive. Ah, and she does an ah trill. Greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, teach me how to sing. If I cannot fly, let me sing. Okay, so now we're going to analyze. And the first number one on your pink sheet is this a plot-specific or universal lyric? You will have to do a good job of figuring that out, because if you pick the wrong thing, you will have analyzed the lyric completely wrong. So in this instance, this is a universal lyric, okay? As many of you know, this song is from Sweeney Todd. There is nothing in this lyric that specifically links it to the plot of Sweeney Todd. The lyric could stand all on its own, and we would know exactly what it was talking about. So this is a universal lyric, okay? So therefore, with a universal lyric, we will use only the lyric to answer these questions. We will not go back to the plot, only the lyric on a universal lyric. If this lyric were plot specific, we would absolutely have to go back to the plot, because for one thing, we may need the plot just to figure out what's going on in the lyric, okay? So we're just going to use this lyric. So number two, anything interesting that stands out to me? Normally I would be asking you if there's anything that jumps out, but you're not here. So I'm just going to tell you what jumps out to me. Right off the bat, what jumps out to me is language. The language is either it's of a different time, it's very poetic, but it's certainly not the kind of language that we use today. So that's one thing that jumped out at me. Another thing that jumped out at me is that there is, when we get to want, number 5, there's an either or want in this song, okay? And that's about it. So we're going to go on to number 3, which is, what is the world of the play? And remember, I'm looking for a big world. So since it's not plot specific, I'm looking for big world. So I'm talking about era, country, or continent. First of all, from this lyric, all right, it is clearly not modern, all right? How do I know that? Words like, how can you jubilate? Beckoning, beckoning. maddened by the stars. Whence comes this melody? Okay, that's not, these are not words that we use a lot anymore. Is it for wages? When was the last time you used that word? My cage has many rooms, damask and dark. Damask is an old fabric, okay? So just by those words alone, that puts me in a different time period. And I'm going to pick the 19th century. It has a 19th century feel to me. Certainly it's not 20th century, it's too old. But personally, I don't feel like it's 18th century. It doesn't seem that old to me. I could be wrong, but certainly it's not modern. So I'm going to choose to put it in the 19th century. As to where is this taking place, there is nothing in this lyric that makes it obvious to me where this is taking place. It's in English, but you can't go by that. There are many works that are written in one language and they take place in a different country. So The Marriage of Figaro is written in Italian and takes place in Spain. So we can't go by the fact that it's English. We also can't go by the birds. We can't go, oh, well, where are linnet birds? Because these are caged birds. So they've been brought here from someplace else. So yeah, I'm going to have to go with, I don't get an obvious place, but I do get a time period. So now we're going to go on to number 4. And number 4 is, what is the scene about? So this is the bottom line, down to its common denominator. What is going on in this song? And I would normally ask you, but I'm going to now just tell you what my sentence is. A girl is puzzled by the fact that birds can sing while they are caged and longs to feel the way they seem to. Okay? Then we go to number 5. What does she want? Now this is when we get to the double want. Okay? She has a double want here. She has an either or want. All right? So what do you think the first want is? I think the first want is she wants to get out of her cage. Okay? If she could, she'd get out of that cage. And so if we want to translate that into some active verbs, I would say to escape, to fly, to burst out, to explode. Okay, so these are all wanting to get out of the cage. Now here's the second want. Here's the either or. Okay, if she can't get out of the cage, now what she wants to be able to do is make peace with her cage, is to be happier inside of her cage. Okay. So if we were translating that into active verbs, we would have to be happy, to adapt, to settle, to enjoy, to embrace. Okay? So now we go down to number 7. I'm skipping number 6 because we're going to do character later. So number 7 is the conflict. So what is standing in her way of getting what she wants? Okay, so want number 1, which is to get out, to escape the cage. Okay, from this song, we do not know. We don't know what her personal want is. She could be standing in her own way. There could be the situation could be keeping in her in the cage. It could be an individual. Okay, we do not know from this lyric. Okay, so then we go to number 2, which is what is standing in her way of being happy inside that cage. Okay, it's her personal cage. So it's either herself, she standing in her own way of being happy. Again, the situation. It could be impossible for her to be happy in this particular kind of cage. Again, we don't know, all right? It's not really clear in the lyric, but that's fine because when you write your private scenario, it will be clear for you. Your own scenario will be. Now, ladies, there's a trap in singing this song. If you choose to sing to someone who is keeping you in the cage. So in the plot, okay, Judge Turpin is keeping Joanna in her cage. But if you were to choose to sing to a powerful person from your life who was the person keeping you in your cage, that's going to be a mistake, okay? Because remember, Joanna is not singing to Judge Turpin. She is singing to birds outside of her situation in an effort to explain and to get help and guidance from them, okay? So that's just parenthetically a little something that you want to keep in mind, okay? Number 8, atmosphere. And remember, atmosphere is big weather or internal weather. Okay, so a hurricane, a snowstorm, you're sick, you're drunk, you're hungover, you're something like that. None of that applies in this case. So number 8 for this lyric does not apply. Number 9. What event, real or imagined, happened right before the action? Okay, so what happened for this character right before she opens her mouth to sing? We don't know. And 99% of the times, if you are dealing with a universal lyric, you will not know. With a universal lyric, you must supply it yourself, okay? Because we're not going back to the plot to find out. It's a universal lyric. So the answer in this case to number 9 is I must provide. It has to come from your private scenario. So you have to provide that answer in a universal lyric. Certainly it's not in this lyric anywhere, okay? Let's talk about number 10. So what emotions is this girl experiencing? Okay, I think she's frustrated. I think she's very frustrated about her situation. She has longing. She is longing to get out of this cage or longing to feel good about her cage. I think she has sadness. I think there's a time in the lyric, my cage has many rooms, damask and dark, where there's sadness there about being in her cage. I think she has excitement, okay, and joy every time she talks about what might it be to be outside of this cage, and you have to play that excitement and joy, okay? I think she has confusion and curiosity. I think she's confused about how the birds can, feel so good in that situation. She can't. She's very curious about that. And I would say finally, towards the end of the song, she has desperation. She's really, by the end of the song, really desperate to know the answer to this problem. Before I go on to character, let me just ask you this question. In the song, the word sing is repeated many times, okay? What is the word sing in this song a metaphor for? Okay, think about that for a second. What is it a metaphor for? The answer is happiness, okay? So sing is a metaphor for happiness. Let's talk about her character. Now, again, universal lyrics, so we are only going to deal with anything we can glean from the lyric itself, okay? And what can we glean from the lyric itself? Okay, so the qualities of mind, heart, and will. So what about her mind? Okay, so I can't particularly tell whether this girl is intelligent or not from this lyric. I feel that she's scattered, okay? I'm not saying she's stupid, but I am saying that I think that she's scattered, okay? And I'm not getting a real take on her intelligence. If we go to her education, though, we know this girl is rich. How do we know this girl is rich? Okay, it's right here. My cage has many rooms, damask and dark. So her cage has many rooms, all right? And there's damask in those rooms. Damask is an old-fashioned, very expensive fabric. So she lives, obviously, in a wealthy situation, okay? So we know that she's wealthy. So what will this say about her education? Well, if we put this in the 19th century, I would have to think that this girl has about as good an education as girls did who were of a certain station, okay? She undoubtedly had a tutor and or a nanny, okay, who she can read and write and that. Beyond that, I'm not sure. I mean, we don't know what the tutor taught her, but that's my feeling, is that she had a tutor. So she is as educated as most high-end girls would be in that time period. So that's about all I've got for mind. Heart. Again, she seems warm. I'm not sure she is warm, but she seems warm in the song. Will. Is she strong? Is she weak? I'm not getting that. I'll tell you what she has. She has a strong want. Okay? Not everybody who has a strong want is actually strong, but at least we know she's got a strong want. I don't know how strong she is. Okay, so that answers all of those questions. I want to talk just a little bit about repeats, okay? Repeats in the song, all right? And there are repeats in the song. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, don't say the same thing twice. So if there are repeats, you have to deal with those repeats. You have to make them different in some way and for a good reason. Not just different to be different, but what is the logical progression of how those repeats are going to change. So, greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, how is it you sing? Okay, that is spoken 3 times. In the beginning, somewhere around the middle, and at the end. However, in the end, it does change a little bit. In the end, it is greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, teach me how to sing. All right? So, I'm going to start with a 3rd time because I think that's the easiest. All right? So let's look at what it comes out of. It comes out of, my cage has many rooms, damask and dark. Nothing there sings, not even my lark. Larks never will, you know, when they're captive. Teach me to be more adaptive. And then she sings this trill as though she's trying to be one of the birds. And then I would recommend you fail. She fails to do that, which sends her into the final greenfinch and linnet bird, which for me is desperation, okay? She's talking about unhappy things. It takes her into trying to be a bird. She fails, and that moves her right into desperation, okay? And you also note that she says, greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, teach me how to sing, okay? So that's what I would do for the 3rd one, okay? Then I'm going to go backwards, all right? So I'm not. I'm going to skip to number 1. We went from 3 to 1. So the first time she says it, I would bring my confusion and curiosity in there. So it's simply she wants to know. She's curious and a little bit confused about that. So it's a confused and she's just interested question, okay? That would be how you'd ask that for number 1. Now, when we get on to number 2, of course, and she says it again, I feel like this is going to be more intense, maybe a little frustration, because she's really starting to press for an answer now, okay? So that's going to be a little bit more intense with some frustration in it. So that's what I would do with those repeats. As far as variety is concerned, okay, so you want to have variety in the song. Where is variety in this song? Where is there some variety that already exists that you can play up, all right? In the 2nd stanza, okay, we have greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird. How is it you sing? Whence comes this melody constantly flowing? Is it rejoicing or merely hollowing? Are you discussing or fussing or simply dreaming? Are you crowing? Are you screaming? Okay, so there are all these opportunities to play those different things, all right, which will create variety for your song. In the 3rd stanza, she's which begins with ring, dove, and robinette. So on that stanza, she has a new idea there. She says, ring, dove, and robinette, is it for wages, singing to be sold? Okay, so you have the opportunity there to treat that like, oh my God, maybe it's for money, like she got that idea all of a sudden. Ring, dove, and robinette, is it for wages, singing to be sold? Okay, so that's another opportunity there for variety. Okay, so that is that about wraps it up. Again, so what you need to do is answer these questions as far as your final song is concerned. I will not collect these. This is your work. You're not going to hand it in to me, but you're going to do it, for your final song. Okay, good. Thank you so much. And now it's time for the tape to end. Yeah, okay. Somebody was supposed to end the tape for me.